I want to tell you about the house on Veriton Street. My friend Cassie moved in during a February that wouldn't stop snowing. She'd just gone through a divorce, needed somewhere cheap, somewhere quiet. The listing said the previous tenants had left due to relocation. The landlord, a soft-spoken man named Mr. Polich, told her the house had been empty for 8 months. He said it like that was something she should feel good about. The rent was $400 below market. She signed the same afternoon. The first thing she noticed was the doors. Not that they were broken. Not that they were strange looking. It was something more subtle. Every interior door in the house swung toward the outside walls. Bedrooms, bathroom, basement. Every single door opened inward, away from the center of the house. Like the rooms were designed to funnel you deeper in, not let you back out. She mentioned it to Mr. Polich, and he laughed. Said it was an old build. They did things differently then. She let it go. The second week, she tried to leave for a grocery run and found the front door wouldn't open. Not stuck. Not warped from the cold. The handle turned. The deadbolt slid. The door moved an inch. And then just stopped. As if something on the other side was leaning against it. She pushed until her shoulder bruised. She went to the back door. Same thing. Windows opened fine. She could feel the February air on her face. But she couldn't get a leg over the sill without her whole body seizing up. A nausea so total she'd double over and retch. She called me. I thought she was being dramatic. I told her to call a locksmith. She said, "It's not the locks, Danny. I'm telling you, it's not the locks." I drove over. I walked up to her front door from the outside, and it opened immediately. No resistance at all. Cassie was standing in the hallway looking at me like I'd just pulled her out of deep water. She grabbed her coat and stepped over the threshold. And then just stopped. 1 foot on the porch. 1 foot inside. She looked down. She looked up at me. She tried to move forward and couldn't. Her face did something I don't have a word for. It wasn't fear exactly. It was recognition. Like some part of her had already known. I grabbed her arm and pulled, and she came free all at once, stumbling into me on the porch steps. We stood there in the cold for a long time without saying anything. She never went back inside. She lost the deposit. She lost the furniture. She called Mr. Polich to say she was breaking the lease, and he was quiet for a moment, and then said, "That's all right. Someone always comes back." We've never figured out what he meant. Cassie still has nightmares about the hallway. In the dream, she says she's standing in it forever, and the front door is open, and she can see outside, and her legs just won't work. And in the dream, there's a sound, not quite a voice, coming from behind every closed door in the house, like something breathing, like something waiting for her to stop trying. She says in the dream, she always eventually does. This one is mine. I was 19 when my grandmother died. She left her house to my mother, who didn't want to deal with it, so that summer I drove 4 hours upstate to start clearing it out alone. The house was a tall, narrow Victorian on the edge of a dying town. Peeling trim, root-buckled porch, The smell of old paper and camphor the moment you stepped inside. My grandmother had lived there for 51 years. She had not, as far as anyone knew, been happy. I planned to stay 3 days. I stayed 11. Not because there was so much to sort through, though there was. Not because I got attached to the place, though something like that happened too. I stayed because every time I was about to leave, every single time I packed the car and locked the front door and started the engine, something pulled me back. Not metaphorically. I mean, I would get a mile down the road and feel a pressure behind my sternum, like a hand closing around my heart, and I would pull over and sit there unable to breathe until I turned the car around. The moment I turned around, the pressure stopped. By day 4, I stopped fighting it. I started exploring instead. My grandmother had sealed the 3rd floor, nailed the door shut, painted over the seam, put a bookshelf in front of it. When I found it, I felt something I can only describe as cold interest. Not fear, just a pulling kind of curiosity that I now think was not entirely my own. I pulled the shelf away. I pried out the nails. I opened the door. The 3rd floor was one long room running the length of the house. Bare floorboards, no furniture, no windows on the interior wall. But covering that wall, floor to ceiling, edge to edge, were photographs. Hundreds of them, pinned and taped and layered, all of the same subject. The house. Decades of photographs of the house. Exterior shots, mostly taken from the street, but angles that didn't match the geography. Shots that seemed to be taken from inside neighboring houses that didn't exist, from above the tree line, from ground level in the middle of the road at what must have been 3 or 4 in the morning. And in the corner of almost every single photograph, almost hidden, always partially obscured, a shape in one of the upstairs windows. I found the way out that night. Not the front door. A door at the end of a hallway I'd walked past a dozen times and never registered. A door that I suddenly, without explanation, was able to open. It led out onto a rusted fire escape. I climbed down with nothing but my keys and drove until the pressure left my chest, which took almost an hour. My mother sold the house without ever visiting it. The buyers were a young couple. I tried to tell them. The husband thanked me and said old houses always had quirks. His wife was very quiet during the conversation. She shook my hand when I left and held it a beat too long, and I saw something in her face I recognized. That same look Cassie had on the porch, like she already knew. My husband Reese and I took the house-sitting gig because we were broke and newly married, and someone in a Facebook group said the owners paid well and traveled often. The house was a colonial in a nice suburb. Big yard. Good neighborhood. 6 weeks, they said. Watch the cat. Water the plants. Make yourselves at home. The owners left on a Thursday. By Saturday night, something felt wrong. Not the house itself, exactly. It was clean, comfortable, well furnished. But the cat, an old gray thing named Miso, would not move from the center of the living room rug. She sat there all day and all night, in the same position, facing the front door, not eating, not sleeping that we could see. On Sunday, I caught myself doing the same thing, sitting on the couch, staring at the door, not reading or watching anything, just waiting. I didn't know what I was waiting for. Reese started having trouble sleeping. He'd get up at 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'd find him in the kitchen, standing at the window over the sink, looking out at the backyard with the lights off. He said he didn't remember getting up. We laughed about it the first few times. The third week, I tried to go to the grocery store alone and came back 10 minutes later. I couldn't explain why. I told Reese I'd forgotten the list, but I hadn't forgotten the list. I'd gotten 2 blocks away and become so overwhelmed by the certainty that something terrible would happen if I left, that I turned around without thinking. Reese said he'd come with me. We got to the end of the street together. Neither of us could go further. We stood at the corner for 20 minutes, trying to figure out what was happening to us. We could see the rest of the street. We could see cars driving past. Nothing was stopping us physically. But the certainty, that cold, absolute certainty that we could not leave, that to leave was to lose something, that the house was the only safe place, that outside was wrong and inside was right, was total. We went back inside. We told ourselves we'd call someone in the morning. We didn't call anyone in the morning. The days blurred. We ate what was in the house. The cat started eating again, but still didn't move from the rug. We stopped talking about leaving. We stopped talking much at all. We'd sit in the evenings in the living room with the lights on, the 2 of us and the cat, all facing the front door. It was Reese who broke it. He told me later that he'd started to not mind, that there was something almost comfortable about it, the smallness of the world the house gave us, and that comfort scared him more than anything. He packed a bag for both of us at 5 in the morning while I was sleeping. He woke me up. He said, "Don't think. Just walk." I don't remember the actual leaving. I remember being in the car, and Reese driving very fast, and the cat watching us from the front window as we pulled away. Her eyes caught the headlights. We called the owners from a motel an hour away and told them we'd had a family emergency. They were completely calm. They thanked us for calling. The husband said, and I am not making this up, "Don't worry. The house doesn't hold everyone the same. We never picked up our deposit. We never went back. And some nights, I still feel it. That pull, that certainty, that quiet voice that says outside is dangerous, and the house is safe, and the door should stay closed. I feel it less now than I did 6 months ago, but I still feel it. Stay safe out there, and check your doors. Even the darkest stories leave something behind. Stay with me. There are more stories.